Hello everyone, good morning and welcome back. This is Dina Mohammed. As you know, last time we've started a new unit, which is Unit 9. And of course, we're talking about food in this unit. So let's continue studying it. Today, we are going to kick it off with a pronunciation exercise. هنبدأ النهاردة بتدريب نطق pronunciation. We are talking about something that is called sentence stress. Sentence stress. Stress زي ما اتفقنا قبل كده يعني القوة في الجملة أحيانا بتكون على أهم كلمة في الجملة. فهتلاقي الكلمة اللي هي stressed في الجملة هي الكلمة اللي عليها دائرة كده من فوق. One of the best ways to learn how to speak is called shadowing. واحدة من أهم الطرق اللي بتعلمني إزاي أنطق صح exactly like native speakers إني أعمل shadowing. يعني إيه shadowing؟ يعني now I'm going to play the audio for you. هنشغل الأوديو وأنت بتسمع you have to pause the video and start repeating. أوكي؟ يعني هنوقف الفيديو ونحاول نكرر بالظبط زي ما احنا بنسمع بنفس النغمة بنفس الطريقة بنفس الستريس. أوكي؟ Let's go.
Page 60. Exercise 4. Pronunciation. Sentence stress. Part A. Listen and practice. Notice the stressed words. Do we need any beans?
Yes, we need some beans.
Do we need any rice?
No, we don't need any rice.
Okay. So as you can see, the stress is here is on beans. القوة هنا في الجملة دي على كلمة beans فهتلاقي الصوت بيرتفع فيها وبيطولوها شوية في النطق. Okay. Do you need any beans? Do you need any beans? Try to pause the video and repeat after them. Now we have a pair word exercise. If you remember last time we were talking about some and any. المرة اللي فاتت كنا بنتكلم وشرحنا بالتفصيل some و any. قلنا إنه any we use it with questions or in questions and in negative sentences. يعني بستخدم كلمة any في الأسئلة وفي الجمل المنفية وبستخدم كلمة some في الجمل المثبتة اللي ما فيهاش لا كلمة not ولا فيها كلمة استفهام أو علامة استفهام أو شيء من هذا القبيل. So here we can practice. If you are making your shopping list, for example, you can say, do we have any lemons? Do we have any lemons? والإجابة طبعا yes we have or no we haven't. Here it depends on the shopping list. Okay? يعني لو الحاجة مكتوبة هنا يبقى they need it. Okay? For example, do we need any apples? Yes, we need some apples. Do we need any blueberries? Let's see. No, we don't need any blueberries. Okay? طبعا المفروض انه ده نعمل عليه practice اكتر بس we are going to postpone it to our session. Here we have a snapshot, a listening exercise. Listen and practice. This exercise is telling us about breakfast around the world. لما أحب أقول حول العالم بقول around the world. So here we're talking about breakfast around the world. For example, in the United States, in Japan, and in Costa Rica. Now we are going to listen. Okay.
Page 60. Exercise 5. Snapshot. Listen and practice. Breakfast around the world. The United States.
Cereal with milk. Fresh fruit. Orange juice. Coffee. Pastries.
Japan. Fish. Rice. Soup. Pickles. Green tea. Costa Rica.
Rice and beans. Eggs. Red peppers. Bananas. Coffee with milk.
So I think we've studied most of the words mentioned here in this exercise, but we still need to learn more or to know the meaning of pastries. Pastries. What do we mean by pastries? Pastries. Exactly, like معجنات. Okay. Here we have pickles. Pickles. You can guess. It's something that is salty. We eat it with our main meals. Very nice. It's pickles means اللي هو المخللات الحاجات المخللة. I think this one is easy. Red peppers, الفلفل الأحمر, coffee with milk. Everything is clear. Okay. So now I want to ask you a question. Try to pause the video and answer this question to practice speaking about your breakfast. What do you usually have for breakfast? What do you usually have for breakfast? So for me, I can say, well, I like to eat eggs and beans in my breakfast. Sometimes I can add an apple, and of course, I am into drinking coffee with milk in the morning. Just pause the video and start speaking to yourself. Okay, now we have a conversation. I don't want you to look at the written words at the beginning. I just want to expose you to the language. So let's focus more on the picture itself. And I'm going to type you a question, which is, what do Japanese people usually have for breakfast? Again, what do Japanese people usually have for breakfast? الناس اليابانيين بيحبوا ياكلوا ايه for breakfast? I want you to listen to find the answer for the question. Again, what do the Japanese people like to have for their breakfast?
Page 61. Exercise 6. Conversation. We always have green tea. Listen and practice.
What is a typical Japanese breakfast, Kaito?
Well, we usually have fish, rice, and soup.
Fish for breakfast? That's interesting.
Oh, it's really good. Sometimes we have a salad too, but we never have coffee.
Really? What do you have?
We always have green tea.
I love green tea.
Listen, my family usually has a Japanese-style breakfast on weekends. Why don't you come to my house on Sunday?
That's very nice of you. Thanks.
Okay. Have you found the answer for the question? Yes, exactly. Of course, they have fish for breakfast. As you can see, or as you heard in the conversation, he said, well, we usually have fish, rice, and soup. Okay? Now let's listen for one more time. Now listen while following the arrow or following the written words. دلوقتي هنسمع ونتتبع السهم. I want you to take care of the starters. For example, well هتلاقوا عليها stress كده وبيطولوها. مش بيقولوها بسرعة، مش بيقولوا well, no. well هتلاقوا كمان كلمة oh, it's a good starter too. You can also hear really. If you want to make sure about a piece of information that was mentioned before, you can say really. It's like a kind of a question. Okay. Now let's go and listen to the conversation one more time.
Page 61. Exercise 6. Conversation. We always have green tea. Listen and practice.
What is a typical Japanese breakfast, Kaito?
Well, we usually have fish, rice, and soup.
Fish for breakfast? That's interesting.
Oh, it's really good. Sometimes we have a salad too, but we never have coffee.
Really? What do you have?
We always have green tea.
I love green tea.
Listen, my family usually has a Japanese-style breakfast on weekends. Why don't you come to my house on Sunday?
That's very nice of you. Thanks.
That's great. Have you noticed the intonation, the stress that was put on the word love? She said, I love green tea. I love green tea. So she stressed the word very much to express her love or to show her love, to make it the most important word in the sentence. Okay, this is how it works. One of the most important things to do is shadowing, as I mentioned. Pause the video, start repeating every single sentence. حاولوا تكرروا كل كلمة بتسمعوها because that's how it works. دي الطريقة اللي الموضوع بيمشي بيها يعني. Okay. I want to ask some more questions. For example, what do they have as a drink for breakfast? Do they have coffee? Do they have coffee? No, of course not, because here, but we never have coffee. Okay, what about the drinks? What do they have as a drink for breakfast? Yes, of course, they always have green tea. They always have green tea. So they eat fish, rice, and soup for breakfast, and they drink or they have green tea. Okay, so this is the Japanese breakfast or the Japanese style breakfast on weekends. So here we go to the grammar focus. It's something that is very easy. I think we don't even need a whiteboard for it. They are called adverbs of frequency. Adverbs of frequency. يعني الادفيربز او الاحوال او الظروف ظرف. adverb يعني ظرف اللي بستخدمه عشان اعبر عن مثلا الحاجة دي انا بعملها دائما، احيانا، عادة، غالبا، نادرا، وهكذا. These are called adverbs of frequency and I'm sure you know it. You know them very well. They are put on a scale, like for example here, look at this scale. نحطهم كده على scale ابتداء من 100% to 0%. يعني ايه بقى الكلام ده؟ يعني if I'm doing that thing every day, every single day, and it's very regular, أنا بعمل الشيء ده بانتظام يوميا, regularly بانتظام، خلاص مش بفوت يوم. So I can say that I do it, I always do it, I always do it. It's one of my habits. Okay? طيب يبقى always معناها دائما. Usually يعني عادة، أقل شوية، نسبة أقل من 100%، ولكن still it's a high percentage اللي هي لسه برضو نسبة عالية. عادة يعني ممكن أفوت مرة أو مرتين مثلا، بس still I usually do this thing. Often or often it can be pronounced in both ways. بتتنطق بالطريقتين عادي جدا. Often 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 ودي معناها غالبا. غالبا يعني نسبة أعلى شوية من 50%. So then we have sometimes يعني أحيانا sometimes. I sometimes go to school on foot. I sometimes go to school on foot. I sometimes go to the gym by car. I sometimes whatever. Okay. Hardly ever يعني شبه مستحيل إني بعملها، بس ممكن أكون بعملها بس مثلا مرة once in a blue moon. Once in a blue moon يعني مرة كل فين وفين. Once in a blue moon. This is a nice idiom to know. حلو قوي موضوع الإيديومز ده إن إحنا ندخله. واحنا بندرس because it helps a lot in speaking. Once in a blue moon يعني زي ما بنقول كده بالعربي مرة من كل فين وفين. This is what we can say when talking about something that we don't usually do or we are not used to do, but still sometimes we can do it. So we say, I hardly ever watch television, for example. I hardly ever watch television. This means that maybe I watch television once a month, مرة في الشهر, once a year, or whatever. When I say never, this means 0%. So I never do this thing. This means that I don't do it at all. يعني أنا عمري ما بعمله. الحاجة دي عمري ما بعملها. I think this is very easy and clear. I want to focus more on the placement of the adverbs of frequency in sentences. يعني فين احطهم بقى adverbs of frequency دول فين احطهم في الجملة عشان تبقى جملتي grammatically صح. انا بحطهم بعد الفاعل. يعني ايه بعد الفاعل؟ يعني لو انا بتكلم عن نفسي فهقول I usually, I always, I often, I sometimes, I hardly ever, I never. اوكي؟ لو انا بتكلم عن he فهقول برضو he always, he sometimes بعد الضمير او بعد الفاعل اللي هو already الفاعل بتاع الجملة. لو أنا بتكلم عن my sister مثلا ف my sister is is the subject of the sentence. هي الفاعل بتاع الجملة فهقول my sister sometimes my sister sometimes eats fish for breakfast for example. يبقى أنا بحطهم بعد الفاعل وقبل الفعل الأساسي. Let's look here. This is the pronoun I. ده الضمير I اللي هو طبعا الفاعل بتاع الجملة I. بعد I هحط بقى I always, I usually, I often, I sometimes, I hardly ever, I never eat breakfast. Okay? طيب. Sometimes can be used at the beginning of the sentence. كمان sometimes ممكن استخدمها في بداية الجملة إني أعمل تأكيد to emphasize something. So I say sometimes I eat breakfast. And it can be also used at the end of the sentence. أقدر أقول I eat breakfast sometimes. Okay? طيب. Do you ever شفتوا جت فين؟ Do you ever هل عمرك do you ever have fish for breakfast? Yes, I always do. Sometimes I do. No, I never do. Never لما بتيجي في الجملة بتدي معنى كلمة not. Never, when I see it in a sentence, it means not. يبقى كأني بالظبط بقول I don't do this. أنا مش بعمل كده. I don't do this. Okay? So, adverbs of frequency. That's our topic for today. Here we have some examples. He gives us the adverb of frequency at the end, and he wants us to put it or to place it in the suitable place. عايزنا نحط adverb of frequency في المكان المناسب. For example, do you usually have a big breakfast? We put it here after you and before the main verb. قبل الفعل الأساسي. بعد الفاعل وقبل الفعل الأساسي. Well, on Sunday, I always have a big breakfast with my friends. I always حطها هنا بعد الفاعل وقبل الفعل الأساسي. Do you ever, I'm gonna place it here. Do you ever eat breakfast at work on weekdays? Yes, I can put it here. I sometimes have breakfast at the office restaurant. Do you بعد you على طول. Do you often eat breakfast at your desk? No, I hardly ever eat breakfast at my desk. I hope it's clear. I have just one more thing to mention, which is the negative statements. الجمل المنفية بقى فين بحط adverb of frequency بحطها بعد not. I don't usually. He doesn't always, for example. Okay, يبقى لو الجملة منفية فيها not بجيب الادverb of frequency بعد كلمة not. Okay. لسه هنتعرض لها بعدين، هي مش مذكورة في الجزء ده. هنتعرض لها بعدين مرة تانية إن شاء الله. Okay, that's great. We have a listening exercise here. Carrots are my favorite. Carrots are my favorite. Um, okay, just a minute. We have two persons are talking about food. Devon and Victoria بيتكلموا عن الطعام. How often does Victoria eat these foods? Listen and check. Often, sometimes, or never. يعني هنسمع الكونفرسيشن ونشوف بقى فيكتوريا ازاي بتتعرض للنودلز، ازاي بتتعرض للتشيكن، امتى بتاكلهم. Often, sometimes, or never. Fish, eggs, and carrots. Okay, let's go.
Page 61. Exercise 7. Grammar focus. Adverbs of frequency.
I always eat breakfast.
I usually eat breakfast.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not this one. I think that's this one.
Page 62. Exercise 8. Listening. Carrots are my favorite. Part A. Devon and Victoria are talking about food. How often does Victoria eat these foods? Listen and check often, sometimes, or never. So, what looks good, Victoria?
I don't know yet.
Well, the soup is really good. Do you like noodles?
Oh, yeah. I often eat noodles for lunch. I just don't want them tonight.
Okay. Well, the chicken is great here. How about that?
Oh, no. I never eat chicken. I don't like meat.
Really?
Yeah. Sometimes I have fish or eggs, but I never eat chicken or beef.
So, do you eat a lot of vegetables?
Yes. Carrots are my favorite. I often have some in the afternoon for a snack.
Okay. So if you've noticed لو لاحظتوا listening من المهم جدا، وأنا بعمل listening إنه يعني ألقي نظرة سريعة كده على الأسئلة نفسها أو على الجدول نفسه أو على الآيتمز نفسها عشان أكون مركز جدا وأنا بسمع هما بيتكلموا عن إيه. يعني أنا قلت لكم قبل ما نسمع listening noodles, chicken, fish, eggs, carrots. فلما عملت دمج أو دخلت اتنين في بعض اللي هي fish و eggs قالت I sometimes have fish and eggs for breakfast. فإحنا كنا مركزين علشان كده على طول حطينا صح عن sometimes و eggs رغم إن هي حطتهم في جملة واحدة. Let's listen one more time.
Page 62. Exercise 8. Listening. Carrots are my favorite. Part A. Devon and Victoria are talking about food. How often does Victoria eat these foods? Listen and check often, sometimes, or never. So, what looks good, Victoria?
I don't know yet.
Well, the soup is really good. Do you like noodles?
Oh, yeah. I often eat noodles for lunch. I just don't want them tonight.
Okay. Well, the chicken is great here. How about that?
Oh, no. I never eat chicken. I don't like meat.
Really?
Yeah. Sometimes I have fish or eggs, but I never eat chicken or beef.
So, do you eat a lot of vegetables?
Yes. Carrots are my favorite. I often have some in the afternoon for a snack.
Okay, I think it's clear. Let's move on. I want to have this part with you. It's a reading passage, قطعة. We are supposed to read and answer some questions about this passage. Okay, here we come to the reading activity. أنا بس وقفت عشان أكتب الأسئلة. Let's continue. In reading, you're supposed to read silently using your eyes to find the answer for a question. يعني عشان أعمل قراءة صح، الموضوع مش موضوع إني أقرأ loudly بصوت عالي، لا. الموضوع إني أعرف مهارات القراءة وأعرف أطلع إجابات الأسئلة وأنا بقرأ silently. So, I want you to follow the steps that I'm gonna tell you right now. عايزاكم تتبعوا الخطوات اللي هقول لكم عليها بالظبط دلوقتي، وهي إنه I'll ask a question about each passage. هسأل سؤال عن كل قطعة، بس مش هوقف، يعني مش هسيبكم، مش هديلكم وقت انتوا، لا انتوا you pause the video، انتوا وقفوا الفيديو وانتوا بتسمعوا until you find the answer for the question. Try to make it as fast as you can. حاولوا تخلوا الموضوع بأسرع ما يمكن انك تلاقي الإجابة، انك تلاقي الإجابة. Whenever you find the answer, just keep going. شغل الفيديو مرة تانية وكمل, because I'm not asking you to read for the details. أنا دلوقتي مش بسألكم أو مش بطلب منكم إن أنتوا تقرأوا عشان تعرفوا every single information in this passage. لا، هي دي حاجة إن أنا بس بدور على الإجابة وأطلعها. بعدين at the end you can read in detail. لازم في الآخر بقى ممكن نقرأ بالتفصيل. Okay, so look at the pictures. Which foods do you like? It's a food festival. Festival طبعا يعني احتفال. اسمه La Tomatina. Okay, I have a question which is, how often do Spanish people have tomato fights? How often do Spanish people have tomato fights? يعني كل قد إيه عندهم حاجة كده اسمها tomato fights. كل قد إيه بيعملوه. Pause the video and find the answer for the questions. Okay, now I can reveal the answer by saying that once a year, مرة كل سنة. Okay, let's move on. Please try to stick to the steps because this is the best way to read. بعدين في الآخر هنقرأ، مش مشكلة. Do they have garlic ice cream in this festival? Do they have garlic ice cream in this festival? It's called the garlic festival. عارفين يعني ايه garlic؟ garlic اللي هو الثوم. الثوم اسمه garlic. Do they have garlic ice cream in this festival? Pause the video. Find the answer. Yes, that's great. Of course. There is even garlic ice cream and garlic popcorn. So yes, they have garlic ice cream in this festival. Okay, let's move to the third passage. Monkey Buffet Festival. Monkey Buffet Festival. The question is this festival for people? Is this festival for people? Pause the video, find the answer. Okay, now I can reveal the answer. It's not for people, it's for monkeys. It's not for people, it's for monkeys. And the last one, what does the bread has? What does the bread has? Have you found the answer? Yes, it has anise seeds or orange in it. Okay, it's called bread for the day of the dead. يعني يوم الميتين كده بيعملوا لهم bread بأشكال مختلفة وبيحطوا فيه anise seeds. يعني إيه؟ يعني بذور اليانسون. anise seeds. Okay, so this is the reading part. ده جزء الreading. We're supposed to read loudly, but I don't want to make the video too long for you. مش عايزة أخلي الفيديو طويل بالنسبة لكم. So we are going to practice reading this passage on our next session on Zoom. زي ما انتم عارفين طبعا عندنا محاضرة زوم بنعمل عليها practice أو بنعمل فيها practice على اللي درسناه. فهناخد جزء تدريب على القراءة. طبعا لو حابين تتدربوا you can just take a screenshot. طبعا لو ما طبعناش الكتاب. I hope إن تكون الناس بدأت تشتغل بجد وطبعت الكتاب يعني. You can take a screenshot and then read it. بعد ما تخلص الفيديو ده تقدر تقرأها كبراكتس يعني، علشان كمان تعلم أو تحط خط تحت أي كلمة صعبة عليك. We are going to discuss these words next session إن شاء الله. Before I end، زي ما انتم عارفين طبعا عندنا محاضرة زوم كل أسبوع يوم السبت 10 مساء، وزي ما انتم عارفين طبعا الفيديو ده بيكون بعده على طول بالليل، النهارده بالليل ان شاء الله بيكون فيه كويز او اختبار على محتوى الفيديو. قبل ما اقفل بس حاجه واحده بس، عايزين شويه نفعل موضوع الايديومز. موضوع الايديومز اللي احنا اتكلمنا عنه ان هو مهم جدا في الكونفرسيشنز. لو تفتكروا في اول محاضره قلت لكم use your noodles، use your noodles، use your noodles لما احب اقول لحد شغل مخك او استخدم عقلك او كده يعني use your noodles. وفي كمان واحد لما احب اقول لحد مثلا، طبعا انا ليه بقول الايديومز دي تحديدا لان هي related to food، مرتبطة جدا بالطعام. لما اقول لحد use your noodles يعني شغل مخك. لما اقول لحد you are the apple of my eye، you are the apple of my eye يعني كأنه كده انت حد مميز جدا بالنسبة لي. اوكي، you're the apple of my eye، you're the apple of my eye. كمان use your noodles. وفي واحد كمان قلنا النهارده، مين بقى فاكره؟ انا نفسي شخصيا نسيت كنا بنحكي في ايه. عادي يعني، بس هو ايه كان ايه بقى؟ let's see. yes، once in a blue moon، once in a blue moon اللي هو مرة كل فين وفين. بس كده. That's all for today. Thank you so much and wait for the quiz. Try to watch the video before you answer the quiz. Thank you so much and goodbye.